This is
a guy who left the Westboro Baptist Church.
This could theoretically be an interview I might be interested in.
So why don't you tell the people in the chat room what we're talking about, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Did you stop and restart?
Yep.
So chat room, what we were referring to is Zach Phelps Roper, who just left the Westboro Baptist Church in January of this year. February? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. February of this year. Was doing an Ask Me Anything on Reddit yesterday. I sent him a private message, just said, hey, I'm a co-host of a podcast. Any chance you would want to do an interview with us? And he said, sure. So I guess we're kind of trying to figure out.
At first I was like, what the fuck are we going to talk to him about? But then the one thing that I was thinking about after I got your tweet that I ignored last night.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's when I was still deactivated Facebook, but that didn't last very long.
No, you're a failure.
Red told me that too.
Hashtag failure.
Jerk.
So, but really what I want to ask him, because I think any family, no matter how messed up, has good aspects. And I think that that's something that I've never heard anyone talk to the Westboro Baptist defectors about. And so I think that's one thing that I'm really, really interested in talking to him about is just what are the good things about your family? I mean, everyone vilifies these people and hates them. I mean, both sides of the political spectrum, all faiths, no faith, everyone hates these motherfuckers. But this is your family.
There's one person who's kind of reached into that territory just a little bit. It's Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because he had to do, like, when he was doing movie premieres for shit like Dogma and stuff like that, he was getting a lot of protests, and the Westboro Baptist Church came and protested him, and they wound up having a back and forth thing with a bunch of different protests, and he interacted with them. He actually got Shelley Phelps Roper on stage with him, and so he's actually kind of gone into that territory a little bit. I'll see if I can't dig some shit up.
Yeah, well, please send that to me.
A couple of the guys from Westboro were on Russell Brand's show, and that was a really, really, really great interview. Yeah, that one was really, really good because they're basically spewing their typical sort of hatred bullshit, and Russell Brand sitting here just all like, "You guys are dumb." That was pretty great.
Yeah, that's a really good aspect. I think that's definitely a thing we need to.
That's what I'm really interested in. The rest of it I've heard. And, I'll be interested to hear some of the stuff from him. But what I'm really interested in is I want to hear, like, what are the good times, Fred Phelps when they weren't hating on fags. What was that like?
It's like talking to Hitler about his paintings.
Yes! That's what I want to do. I want to tell me about, I want to know the real person inside the Jew killer.
Well,
wow.
What would you like to know?
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you done with yourself now? That was something Jay should have said.
I just think this interview has a lot of potential because.
Shut up! You would say that.
Well, of course I would because I've only gotten one no so far.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't.
Why do you keep playing this
I
shit?
just love the hell out of Star Wars. That's all. I can't help it.
You guys realize that we're acquiring like this list of people who are reputable and
I know, right?
And talking to us for hours at a time is growing and
I gotta tell you.
I don't know if you noticed at the bottom of the email that he sent, he gave his phone number too.
I know, I did see that. We could call him right now, actually.
You know what I find interesting is that we have these people coming and talking to us, and we're in a kitchen, right?
In Corpus Christi, Texas,
which is an upgrade from a loft in Flower Bluff.
True.
So I mean, if these people understood who they were talking to, they would probably just be laughing.
I don't know. We actually have grown quite an audience. I mean, not like Seth Andrews' audience, but I mean, for a podcast out of Corpus Christi, I mean.
Technically, it is out of Corpus Christi Atheist.
Yes, it is. It's like...
Literally.
Rebel says Christian is the new Barbara Walters.
Baba Wawa. So if anybody has any suggestions for other people that we can interview, sorry, Ion Herciali already told me not until next year.
Yeah, we only have. She's the only one who's turned us down.
Who do we talk to after? Like next week is our Gorham interview. What is her name?
Candace Gorham.
Candace.
Who's doing that interview?
All of you, me.
I'm not fucking doing the interview.
Yes, you are. Yes,
no,
you are.
I'm not.
We're gonna meet on Monday, and you're gonna do it.
Why?
We're gonna meet on Monday, and
I have no
Just
interest in
read,
it.
just read the questions.
I
That's
have no
all
interest
you
in
That's all you
have to do.
That's all you have
no
to do.
interest in it.
I know, but you're part of the show, dude. So either be a part of the show or don't. So be a part of the show. And
I can be a part of the show that aren't interviews that are boring.
no, but
It's not gonna be, but here's the thing: is that it's not gonna be boring and
sorry. So
Who? What?
really good
I'll get Kevin
Tech
Hale.
Leslie says Anna Kasparian, but I almost feel like, oh, I love Anna Kasparian.
Oh my.
oh, she's the
Young Turks.
yeah.
Young Turks host. And like I've been talking about getting her on the show for months, and now she's on every single fucking atheist show. So I feel like if I do it now, it's like we're just like kind of
Just
Bandwagoning.
another one.
yeah. I
You
don't
wanted
want
to be
to
the
do
hipster
that. Yeah,
that you wanted to be.
And I'm so mad at myself because I've been talking about getting her on the show since before she even talked to an atheist, and now I'm just like, God, why didn't I do that? Anyway,
Because you're a fucking pussy.
I know.
And you talked about it for months, and you're like, I'm not sure if we're ready for this. I'm not sure. You fucking puss.
I know.
Now you're regretting it. You should have listened to
I
Jay.
did. So Atheist Dan R.
First time those words have ever been uttered.
Atheist Dan R. recommends Kevin Ham. That's not a bad idea. I wonder if we could, I bet we could get him. I'll bet you anything we could get him, but we'd have
How
to.
much do you think he would charge?
You know what? I don't want to give him any more publicity.
Yeah, I really
Fucking Ham.
don't.
I
Fuck
don't
him
know.
and his stupid ass.
Considering he's having to like pick fights with the.
I'm just thinking, would there be any negative results if we just told him that? Like
What?
if we just
told
said,
him what?
Kevin, welcome to Atheist Airwaves. Go fuck yourself, you stupid motherfucker, and just until he hung up. I mean, is there any like downside to that?
Grime?
There's only let's talk to our lawyer. No, but I mean, there's no downside to that because like the people who would be upset with us for doing that. Well, I guess there are probably atheists who are like, you should be nice to people.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are not the people. Those are not our target audience.
Atheist Dan says we could probably get Ray Comfort.
We could. I don't know. I don't know if I could handle that. I could handle.
No.
I could.
If Dillahunty had a hard time sort of dealing with the dumb. There is.
Oh, now everyone's talking about the sex show.
Cool.
Yes, no, dare greatly. If we are doing a sex show, it will be at least partially about sex workers. It'll be soon in the next month or so, and you'll be on it. And it's going to be about rights. It's going to be about positivity and not judgment. And so I think that's going to be like our biggest show of the fall, summer.
How do we?
whatever
Okay,
it is.
I'm going to approach some people about this.
Okay, good.
How can I reassure them that we can maintain their anonymity?
Don't tell us your name or come.
There's a fucking webcam right there,
Yeah,
dude.
are we going to turn the
Well,
webcam off?
We can
or-
turn,
just
we can-
like-
if they're here, we can turn it off. But I'm just thinking they can Skype in and just be
Yeah.
a voice.
That's a possibility. Okay.
You know, I mean, the one guest we have, the two guests we have confirmed for the sex show are going to be on Skype. So we can just do another Skype thing. So we can just do, I would like this. So we've got Greta Christina, and we can talk to her about, because she, I don't know whether you've read her, what is that? Look it up real quick. What is her, that one thing she did that keeps getting reprinted and reprinted? But she was a sex worker, not a prostitute, but she
Yeah,
was,
she did like peep shows.
she did peep shows and stuff like that, you know, quarters and the thing comes up. Which is interesting in and of itself. We've got a cam girl who said she would come on and talk to us about that. You can get us a pimp and a prostitute. That would-
Potentially.
Is it
Potentially.
the-
Yeah, ask them. And
I can get a cam girl too.
okay, well, we got one of those, but
Is it the bending, dirty, kinky stories about pain,
No,
power, religion,
no,
unicorns,
no,
and more?
no,
Or
no,
just
no.
the one where she's talking
God damn
about 3 kinds of asking for it?
no,
Best
are we
erotic
having
comics?
sex now or something like that? God damn
I'm
it.
actually kind of nervous about asking these people to come on the show.
Are you really?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a-
Are we having sex now or what?
Are we not having sex now or what? Go ahead and Google it.
Is that like, are you
wrote
in
it.
yet?
So
If you have to ask, the answer is no.
If you've got to
actually,
ask.
unfortunately, it's not always no. But Greta Christina wrote this about 20 years ago. It's about her experience with sex and being a sexual being, and how, she talks about counting the number of sexual encounters and partners she's had, and how she came out of that, and being into sex work and what is sex. So she was talking about the Peep Show. Part of her article was about, she is separated by a piece of glass with a guy. So the guy started masturbating, and then she went over and she started masturbating, and then she was saying, is this sex? Because if this was a person I knew and there was not glass between us, I would definitely say we are having a sexual relationship right now. It's interesting to me, these topics. And so we're going to have a great big giant ass sex show, and you should all listen to that.
Ass sex? Is that like with a donkey?
It could be. I've heard of such things, but I'm just saying, so you guys in the chat room right now are awesome, and thank you for being in the chat room. You guys will be able to listen to our pimp and prostitute interviews and figure out what that stuff is like. If you would like to go to patreon.com/Atheist Airwaves and donate, you will weekly get a
Sex worker.
You'll get the recorded version of our post show, so you can hear all of the
Terrible
things. Oh God, what else? Anything?
Eh.
There was a topless counter protest to the open carry rally in Austin this weekend.
I saw that. I was very disappointed in it. What did you think about it?
I think it was an interesting idea,
I did too.
but I don't think they went about it all that well.
Okay, so
Agree
there
with
was
that
an
too.
open carry protest?
Counter
rally.
protest. There were open carry people carrying their rifles, and then there were a couple of women who went topless to protest it.
And their idea here was...
Basically, you should cover some things up sometimes. Was basically like, you don't need everything out in public, was kind of their point.
Oh, I did have a question about hymens. Okay.
You had a question
I
about
did.
hymens?
I did. We'll get to that in a second. Let's finish talking about this. Thank you for the reminder, Reb. So
in awkward segues.
I really felt like, so you can go out there. I love that you keep doing the nipple play thing while we're talking.
That's an inverted nipple. I'm not sure that's...
I'm
nipple.
okay with that though. I mean,
You sure it's not a protruded butthole?
inverted nipples are lovely.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay, so so there were a bunch of guys slinging their rifles and walking down the street, and then there were these two women who have unslung their rifles, and they've got their
They
boobs
gave
hanging
them
out.
both barrels,
Right.
if you will.
Okay, so but they were basically trying to provoke them, saying, if you have the right to do that, we have the right to do this, and they were like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So I feel like the open carry guys kind of won this because they had no point. Because the open
Yeah.
carry guys were saying, we respect your right to have your boobs out. Will you respect our right to have our guns out? And, so I feel like the boob ladies lost that.
Backfired.
Okay, so I have a question before we get to hymens.
Okay.
Are you anti-open carry?
Yes.
Why?
Because how do I tell the difference between someone who's walking into a restaurant intending to shoot everybody from someone who is just carrying their rifle?
Yeah, just
I
carrying
think-
a
So
rifle
if-
down the
I
street.
think-
All
There-
I'm saying is I have to have a reaction. If someone comes into a restaurant
Sure.
with a weapon, I have to have a reaction to that.
If it's shouldered, then that's a different story than if it's slung.
Well, but they're
Yeah,
gonna
regardless.
unsling it to sit down. At some point, there's gonna be a rifle, and if I see someone unslinging a rifle in the middle of a restaurant, and especially if I'm with my family, I have to have a reaction.
Sure.
My reaction is not gonna be, oh hey, Second Amendment, bro. No, it's gonna be
Pull your own concealed carry?
I either have to.
Pull your child to the floor and lay on top of them in terror.
So there's
Preparation.
there's a philosophy professor who apparently has gone viral. I just watched a little bit of it today, who was talking about if you're in a restaurant and some open carry people come in, leave the restaurant, don't pay your bill. And that's how you protest. I honestly consider doing that. Because honestly, I have to have a reaction. If someone comes into a building in a society where we have mass shootings, where people go into restaurants. I mean, here in Corpus Christi, what was it, Sirloin Stockade, maybe 15 years ago? An employee of mine, no longer with me, but was in that restaurant when someone came in and started shooting people. I cannot afford, as the head of a household, to just say, I'm going to assume this person coming in with an assault rifle is a good guy.
You can't make that assumption. I agree with that. And I think it is technically, as currently, their right to do so, as same is your right to open carry and or carry a concealed weapon if you're licensed.
Yeah, I have very little problem with concealed carry because hopefully it's concealed.
Right.
I think that it's a little problematic, so I'll straddle the fence here a little bit. It's a little problematic because if you look at studies, people, even trained people, well-trained people, hit shit they don't intend to hit when they're in stressful situations.
True.
So there's an argument to be made. I'm less concerned about the concealed carry than I am with people with rifles, and because, like I said.
I'm so glad it's post-show.
What the fuck, dude? Okay. So, I mean, but someone enters my direct proximity armed that heavily. I have a responsibility to protect my family. I can honestly, and this is what I was thinking about all day today while I was thinking about this, is I can honestly see I have to have a reaction. I'm just running through the scenario. I tackle the guy feels like his life is in jeopardy, and now he's shooting me.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
or I'm wrestling the gun away from him, and he's fighting for the gun, so I feel like my life's in jeopardy, so I shoot him.
Sure, yeah. There are definitely scenarios that can go down, but if people keep a calm frame of mind and nobody's doing anything, if you have a concealed carry and you say you have no real issue with the concealed carry, what's the difference between someone walking in with the intention of shooting you?
Well, it's not concealed at that point. It's open carry.
Well,
I mean, if someone has to pull their weapon to shoot me, I can therefore see it. If it's concealed, I can't see it, so I have no reaction. I have no reason to react.
But you have warning at that point. If it's concealed and they're not licensed, they're just out there to fucking kill you.
Right.
And they pull a concealed weapon.
But then it's no longer concealed when they pull it. That's what I'm saying. Open carry, by definition, is no longer concealed.
No, I get that.
If someone pulls out a gun in the middle of a restaurant that was previously concealed,
Sure.
I'm having a reaction to that event.
Sure.
I'm having a violent reaction to that event.
That's happening for a reason because they're not supposed to have any sort of indication that they have the firearm on their person.
The argument I'm making is that an open carry situation, you have at least some warning. I'm not really advocating open carry. I think open carry is kind of silly. I don't see any real necessity for it.
Yeah, I agree.
But, I mean, I take that back, actually. I have had one instance where open carry has benefited me, and that is on private property at my own shop where...
That's not open carry. That's a weapon on your private property, which you can have.
It's true. You're right. You're right. It's not even open carry. You're right.
Okay. Let's talk about hymens.
Let's talk about hymens.
Because I'm kind of confused. So, obviously, I lacking a vagina. I also lack
I've
a
never
hymen.
encountered a hymen, so I don't know.
Okay, neither have I. I have never had sex with a virgin. But
Nor
apparently
shall I.
Amanda has.
We're both familiar with hymens.
Okay, good.
So I'm ggoing to go out on a limb and say.
Maybe a year
Not
ago.
with my vagina. Jesus.
Oh dear. Okay, so maybe a year-ish ago, and I have not talked to anybody about this, which is why I mentioned it.
Are you about to go here?
Pre-show, yeah. So, but I had always heard the phrase, pop your cherry and breaking hymens, but then I read like a year or so ago, that's not physically accurate.
That doesn't always happen.
But I hear that that's not what a hymen is, that there's not a barrier. And it makes sense now that I think about it, because I never thought about it, because I never had to. I have the privilege not to think about things like that. But I mean, it would be impossible to have a barrier if you're menstruating.
I am uneducated to the physical ramifications of hymens.
That's why I was curious. I was like, I'm interested in this.
I think a lot of what people sort of put to popping the cherry and, oh my God, you broke your hymen and it's bleeding the first time you have sex, that just has to do with you.
Shitty sex, right?
Not necessarily. I think it more has to do with the fact that, wow, there's never really been a foreign object like this up in my...
Right, but
Describe a hymen physically.
It's not a full-on barrier.
Yeah.
I would say it's more like a
Like a dog's third eyelid?
Actually, I think that's probably a good description, as I have read in textbooks. But maybe you can.
Sorry, that's what came to mind.
Now I don't know what a dog's third eyelid is, but now I want to know.
It's the little
so
clear thing that goes up.
Wikipedia
No.
says the hymen is a membrane that surrounds or partially covers the external vaginal opening. It forms part of the vulva or external genitalia and is similar in structure to the vagina. But and the thing with hymens though is that, I mean,
Oh, Jesus.
they can be broken.
Sorry, there's a link in the chat room. I'm going to click it. I'm going in, guys.
It's a nictitating membrane.
All right.
So it's
Yeah.
a partial membrane covering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a complete covering. I mean, and girls can have their hymens broken from horseback
on a
riding, riding a bike,
Yeah.
using tampons and stuff like
so
that.
I just want to say that, I was a little nervous clicking on that link, but Joshua B in the chat room actually had a very, very informative thing, because I've also talked to a person here locally who says she has a hymen that actually blocks completely, and
It is
sucks.
possible. That is a medical
and it does
condition.
not break.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It doesn't break?
Yes,
So
it
she
does not
can't
break.
have sex?
Not vaginally.
Yeah. There is an actual medical condition.
She can
Some
she can
people
have
theorize-
surgery.
Yeah.
She can have surgery to do it, but she has not had that surgery because
So the hymen exists forever?
unless you surgically remove it, yes. But typically what I learned because like I said, I have never, nor do I really think I ever want to have sex with a virgin, because that seems like a lot of
Pressure.
and responsibility that I really frankly don't need.
Oh my.
So
you won't be able to get rid of her after that.
no, that's not what that wasn't what. No, my big thing is that I don't know. Sexual intimacy is a very intimate and personal thing, and I would rather not have the responsibility for something that someone's going to remember for the rest of their lives. I don't want that kind of pressure. I don't want to have that. I'm not so.
Speaking as
let
a
me just
woman
say-
who was once a virgin,
Really?
I'm just gonna say, it's not as big of a deal
No.
as a lot of people think it is.
I just feel like some people do place an awful lot of importance on that event.
Some people do.
And I went to an all boys high school, Catholic high school. And and this is probably the formative experience that made me formed this opinion that I never want to have sex with a virgin. There were many boys who went to my school who said they would never have sex with a woman who was not a virgin, because somehow they were, their words, used, and why would they want that? And this was when I was still a virgin myself, and I was like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard someone say about another human being. I had no concept of what sex was.
The religious slut shaming.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the whole concept of virginity is basically my penis is so powerful, I'm going to transform this woman forever. And sorry, dudes, but a lot of times it was all right, that was nice.
I remember sitting funny for a couple of days afterwards.
Yeah, I remember midway through there
done
was
right then.
blood. There was blood, and the guy was like, I told you to tell me if it hurt. And I was like, it didn't hurt. What do you want from me?
Whatever, micro penis.
Yeah, it was just
So according to Wikipedia, there's a glass or plastic rod of 6 millimeter diameter having a globe on one end with varying diameter from 1 to 2.5 centimeters called a Glaister keen rod. and is used for close examination of hymen or the degree of its rupture.
Interesting.
Sounds like a fucking dildo to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. But I think, and thank you, Joshua B, for putting that in the chat room, because I think what I learned today is that there are many different kinds of hymens, and
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah. There is some, to be a history dork here for a minute,
Sure.
there is some theory that Elizabeth I actually had the disorder of the impenetrable
Really?
hymen, and that's kind of because there were lots of rumors, of course, as there would be for the Queen of England, who was, unmarried. But there were lots of rumors and stories of her sexual encounters with people, with men. But
And they were very frustrated.
well, it was just
She probably was.
It was like trying to pee when they saran
No, I
wrap the
don't
toilet.
think so, because most of the nerve endings in the vagina are on the outside anyway. So probably a little bit of cunnilingus, and that's fine for that
I
kind
mean,
of person.
in Elizabethan
Okay,
England,
for that kind of person. I was like,
Sorry, I'm not trying to speak for you, Susan. Apparently, Susan needs the.
Penetration.
in Elizabethan England, it was widely regarded that you had to make the woman orgasm, or else you couldn't have a child. Like
That's actually a
the
really good
action
theory,
of
actually.
orgasming drew
But that's-
the semen up into the.
That's actually like
It is a working theory.
scientifically,
Yeah. So, but anyway, sorry. There is like
Yeah, keep
like
doing the nipple thing. It's really doing it for me. Keep doing it.
I like how we're talking for minutes.
there's some evidence that possibly she and the Earl of Essex had a quasi-sexual relationship, and maybe it went farther than she wanted it to, but didn't quite consummate. And yeah, that's where a
Interesting.
lot of this comes from. I mean, nobody can really.
Yeah, you
Check.
can't ask her.
Yeah, yeah. But
Although I guess
there's-
you could dig her up and check out her
see if the
hymen.
soft tissue is still intact.
Someone
iron
called
she had
Richard. Call Mark Armitage.
Maybe she had a high iron count. You never know.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, Rebel1852 in the chat room was saying, "What was Christian's first time memorable? I assume it's a big deal for some dudes too." That's a fair question. I think like the most.
Jay
I
looks
mean,
unconvinced.
She looks scarred.
really that bad. Was there bleeding? Is there bleeding in this one too?
No, not on that one.
I'm just saying, like my first time was, fine.
That's pretty much how first times go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
The only thing really noteworthy would be, at that point, inserting the penis into the vagina was kind of like, I'm not exactly sure how this works. Luckily, like I said, she was not a virgin, so she was like, here you go. Let me grab this and shove it in here, and this is how it works. And I'm like, right on. I got it from here.
Now I know what to do. Thanks.
I think
I got it from here, thanks.
I got the rest of this.
25 seconds later.
That's giving him a lot more credit than I was.
What? No shaming. What is with the shaming? Slut? How about you, Jay?
Slut five.
Anything memorable?
Memorable, yes, but we're not going to discuss that.
Why?
Because I have not had nearly enough alcohol. I'm surprised none of you have heard the shark face story.
What?
Shark
Come on.
face.
You gotta. come
No,
on. It's
no,
post-show. You
no,
gotta-
no.
The only people who are gonna hear are like the
No.
people in this room plus like
No.
how many people are in the chat room?
Nope.
12 people in the chat room plus like 5 people who patreon.com/atheist airwaves. Like 5 people. Nope. Really?
Nope.
Why? Why are you such a prude?
Nope.
Why are you such? Well, just I'm not even asking you to tell me. I'm just asking you what's the issue.
The issue?
Yeah.
It was a horrible fucking experience.
So-
literally, it was a horrible fucking experience.
But I mean, I think people would be interested in that. Why
sure
are
they
you
would be.
opposed to sharing it?
Because it's a very, very long and very, very stupid story.
How long is it, Jay? Guess it's just like one detail that was memorable.
In my first sexual experience, the condom broke.
Oh, that sucks, dude. That didn't happen to me for years.
Oh, yeah, it happened the first time.
That sucks. Because I freaked the fuck out when that happened.
And there were a
The first
long
time.
string of consequences.
Okay, like we're talking about like abortions and shit.
No, there was no abortions involved. Luckily, that hasn't happened to me at this point in time.
All right.
There were consequences.
What would be the consequences otherwise?
No.
Off the air?
What?
Are you willing to talk about it off the air?
With a bottle of rum, maybe.
All right. Let's see
Brad,
what we
what,
can do.
what you got, bro?
I am really surprised none of you, especially having been drunk with you or like at a beach several
Yeah,
times.
no, I
and
can't
shit.
believe that didn't happen.
When y'all cuddled on the
yeah,
Ides
that
of
was
March.
that was actually a bonding experience.
Yeah. It was really fucking
Apparently
cold
not
that
close enough.
Apparently, I don't know.
I have told this story probably a total of
Then what's
10
the problem?
times.
Then what's the problem?
Maybe 10 times.
So this is like less than 10%.
Not happening. One day, now that you guys
We're
know
asking
that there's
people.
a story,
We're asking people to pay for this shit. Come on, give them like the money shot. Just the money shot, not the whole story. Just the money shot.
the money shot?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
Because it's fucking embarrassing. And I have very, very, very little shame.
How embarrassing could it be?
I think
Given-
the answer here is probably very.
Pretty
If Jay is embarrassed. I'm just saying, Jay
At this point,
is
I don't.
embarrassed.
At this point, I don't even know why. I should be. I mean, it happened when I was 17. It's been many years ago.
And you're like 20 now, so really?
Yeah. It was a really dumb time. It was a really dumb. It led to a really stupid 3 months and 2 trips to the doctor.
Not 9. Just
What?
not 9.
No, 3.
Just 3.
3.
Okay, well, how bad could it be? You know what?
It led to me getting my dick cut with her teeth.
You've told me you won't tell me that story
You've had
either.
bris.
It's all the same story.
That was the first time the bleeding cock.
Well, that was
blowjob.
with the same person.
But it was. What kind of nightmare was this person? What the hell?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm not telling you.
You won't talk about the first time you had sex with her. You won't talk about the time where she made your dick bleed when she was giving you a blowjob. What kind of evil succubus was this?
We call her Shark Face.
Now it makes sense. Wow. All right. Well, I think we can shut it down now. I think that's sufficient. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, and thank you guys on Patreon for contributing. I'm so sorry that Jay won't tell the story. We will bring rum next week. Maybe we can convince him to do it in the Big Sex Show. We're having the Big Sex Show. So if you haven't contributed on patreon.com/Atheist Airwaves, do that so you can listen to the pimp and the prostitutes that we're going to litter our show with. See you.
Later.